Yo, hello, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Idol here, back again, finally, with a recording of Doubles World Cup of Pokemon, the quarterfinals, and today we're gonna have a gauntlet of sorts. We have four straight games of Italy versus, who was Italy playing again? It was West, yeah. It's US West versus Italy, and right now we have the SM game, Amaranth versus Forbes. The new, both of these players, very good players indeed. Though I may call them noobs, well, they are, but uh, they're pretty good. And yeah, okay. And M Forbes is running with a known Trick Room team. I'm pretty sure this is the Stacks Trick Room team. I'm pretty sure the Naga. I forgot if the Naga was AV or Scarf. It's one of those. And well, the Naga might be, and the Gren might be the Scarf set because it's Blizzard spam. I'm pretty sure. I forgot, but it's one of those. Meanwhile, Amaranth, I'm not sure if this specific composition is known, the one that Amaranth is using, but it's a the Metagross Suicune structure is plus Coco is something that has been seen a good amount in SM. Let me just double check if I'm recording. I am. Yeah. So, this position. I'm not sure if Amaranth is in a good position right now. I'm pretty sure this is Scarf and threatens to gunk the Tapu Koko, so Amaranth has to watch out for that. Though if Amaranth is aware, and he should be aware, he should be aware the possibility of this Gren being Scarf and possibly react accordingly, but doesn't necessarily seem like Amaranth has a lot of plays even, because like this Trick Room from Necrozma is coming up. Well, it should anyway. I'm pretty sure the Necrozma is Z, I think. I need to brush up on my SM teams, it's been a long time, but yeah, again, this is the Stacks Blizzard spam team. I'm not sure if M Forbes tinkered with it a bit, like probably, right? It's not like you can approach a team in a tournament setting as if it's 100% what it runs. So, well, M Forbes opting to switch out the thing there, the Necrozma, the Greninja indeed, revealing the Scarf. Tapu Koko reveals that it's Specs because that Greninja just dropped. It just died. Goodbye. See you later, Greninja. Tapu Koko killing with a Volt Switch. It's a neutral move, by the way, because again, Greninja has Protean. It just used Blizzard. The Blizzard not really getting as much value as M Forbes would like, considering Amaranth went in Metagross on the Landorus Terrian slot. Amaranth thinking about who to send out here. It's probably going to be someone who's good in whatchamacallit, probably good into Incin, right? Or Naganadel. It's probably going to be Suicune, to be honest, because considering Metagross also already pins Abomasnow, and Metagross is not under threat of Intimidate thanks to Clear Body, so the Incineroar is not going to have value, rather the Intimidate from Incineroar is not going to have value, though I'm not sure if Incineroar is also going to be switched out in this position, at least for Fake Out. It's not going to be good value for M Forbes, considering it Trick Room is not up. I think Incineroar, or rather M Forbes, needs a way to get initiative very quickly, considering they're also a Pokemon down right now. And I'm pretty sure that the Naganadel on M Forbes side is indeed Assault Vest. I'm pretty sure that it's that set. It should be that set. Because I distinctly remember the stacks on Naganadel being really quirky. So, well, anyway, Amaranth opting to go Naganadel onto the on this open position with M Forbes now considering who to send out. Now that Amaranth has revealed their choice, it's probably going to be I'm not sure. Well, it's probably not going to be Necrozma because the Necrozma is under threat of Z from Naganadel. Like, well, the thing with Amaranth's team is that the Z could either be on KB or rather Kyurem Black for the uninitiated, or it's going to be KB or Naganadel. um like uh and the Trick Room setters on M4's side are both under threat of the double KO. Well, M Forbes opting to just send out the Naganadel on the mirror, just basically saying, okay, I'm down a Pokemon, let's just fucking go, let's just risk it all. Which is fair, to be honest, considering you're already a Pokemon down, your Trick Room setters are in a, or rather, not in a bad spot, or will be put in a bad spot. If you send them in like literally right now. I think M Forbes probably thought that the Trick Room is only really going up with support from Incineroar, which is very fair to think about. So that's why they opted to go Naganadel on this position and just take that risk, I suppose. And Amaranth, like, I'm pretty sure this Naganadel is not max speed. I think it's not max speed, or if it's not, like, it could be max speed modest. Naganadel, or rather M Forbes going from Naganadel onto Diancie, trying to bait out a possible Z Drake, or rather, it's either Z Drake or whatchamacallit, Draco Meteor, right? But while, yeah, and getting that turn off, or rather spending that one turn for Metagross to to Mega Evolve is pretty important in order for the clear body to basically go away once Metagross Mega Evolves. Now M Forbes has the initiative, has the choice here of possibly going on to Incineroar in order to intimidate the Metagross. However, the Abomasto just Ice Shards the Necrozma. That's another way to give space for Necrozma, which, or for the Trick Room setter here, which is Necrozma, is to another way to give it space is to basically get a kill in order to protect your Trick Room setter here. And that's how the double target, or rather, yeah, that's how the double target got avoided. And now Trick Room is up on M Forbes' side. However, Abomasnow, well, not Abomasnow, Necrozma is really, really low. This Kyurem could easily be Assault Vest, and it can easily tank anything that this Necrozma and this Abomasnow can deal. Like, though it is SM, so of course the pale boost on Ice type's defense is not valid yet. However, Kyurem reveals that it does have Protect. Necrozma reveals that it does have Z. Yeah, indeed. Like, that's expected. The Z on this team from M Forbes is on Necrozma, and it is indeed Tech Rage. Excuse me. The Kyurem revealing Protect means that it's not AV, which means that it will take a significant amount of damage with Blizzard plus Photon Geyser. However, it does threaten to kill it does threaten to trade with the Necrozma. Like, the Metagross goes down, but the Necrozma also goes down, and Amaranth does have more Pokemon, and it basically just has to wait out the Trick Room turns after that, right? However, yeah, Amaranth elects to go Suicune there, opting to save the Metagross as a body, which is entirely fair. Oh, it does drop the Photon Geyser, yeah, like, on it, no bulk investment, Kyurem B is actually kind of not that tanky. So, Blizzard plus Photon does indeed get that kill. I'm not sure what I'm thinking about. Expecting that to live, expecting non-AV AB to live. It's probably the Z holder, and Kyurem, offensive Kyurem is usually just max, like max offense, max speed, so that's absolutely zero bulk on the KB. Amaranth electing to go Metagross on this position. Hail is now over for M Forbes, and M Forbes did a good job on basically bouncing back after that turn 1 Volt trade onto the Gren. Though I wouldn't necessarily say that M Forbes was super down in the first place. However, Suicune used Hidden Power. What Hidden Power is that to be super effective onto the Abomasnow? It's not fire because it dealt so little, right? It could be fire. Let me check how much hidden power fire does to Obama's note. What? It is actually fire. What the hell? So Suicune is indeed just shit, huh? Who could HP fire before? Ferrothorn? It's not like people use Ferrothorn, right? In an SM? I really am at a loss for words right now for as to what I just saw. Timer going very low for Amaranth. Who will they sack? Considering I'm pretty sure this Landorus is not protect, right? Yeah, no fucking way. Amaranth basically locked onto T-Bolt at this point. Amaranth has to eat this. If this Blizzard connects, it's GG's. JK, right, and Forbes does not need the Blizzard. He just needs to take out the top Coco in order to force the 3v1. Earth Power doesn't even kill, and M. Forbes does a fantastic job of turning this game around after losing Greninja turn 1. The Trick Room team basically getting the win here. Abomasnow gets sent in on the U-turn from the Naganadel, and it's basically GG's at this point. Well played to M. Forbes, one of the best, supposedly best players in DOU history. Well played to M. Forbes, and a good showing from Amaranth as well, but, well, someone has to win, right? And that is game 1 of the gauntlet for US West versus Italy. It's 1-0 for the gauntlet. I'm not sure what the series score is right now. I'll probably check it out later, and yeah, we'll head on over to game 2 once it happens. Hi guys, I'm back, and this is now game 2 of the gauntlet for Italy versus US West. It's currently now 1-1 for the series score. Eternal Snowman versus Val16, both very good players, of course. And this is an interesting Scarlet and Violet doubles overused matchup. Eternal Snowman pulling up with it's a Wheezing G. Not honestly sure what Wheezing G necessarily does. I have to assume it's neutralizing gas, which is quite handy, I suppose, for getting rid of some very annoying abilities, such as such as Beads of Ruin, Prankster, that is gold, Sheer Force, of course. However, Sheer Force, Wheezing G not necessarily a good answer for gold and Landorus I, considering the typing, but I digress. And Val16, meanwhile, pulling up with a more, how could I describe it? For a more traditional looking offense, a more traditional looking hyper offense with a Prankster Tornadus, with the strong special attackers in gold and Chiyu and Lando I, with some strong physical attacking support options in what you call the fatty again? Iron Hands and Ogre Wellspring. Incineroar plus Wheezing lead versus Hands and Joldengo. Eternal Snowman having the faster fake out. However, Incineroar's ability has it has the ability shield, of course, considering neutralizing gas on as a teammate, of course. So ESM still gets to keep the value of the Intimidate while still having Wheezing on the field. However, Wheezing under threat of dying to good as gold, considering the lacking special defense on the natural based stats. Val16 opting to rage Nasty Plot in that position. Val16 actually having the faster fake out, of course, right? Because Iron Hands in these kinds of comps often run speed in order to hit certain tailwind benchmarks. So it's unsurprising that the Iron Hands actually does outrun the Incineroar. If this was a more bulky or more super defensive Iron Hands, of course, Incineroar would have the faster fake out in that position. But Eternal Snowman apparently, seemingly, I'm not sure, but like Eternal Snowman did get kind of mogged there. Now ESM, while Incineroar does threaten the Joldengo. Never mind. Latios Shadow Ball Terra Ghost revealed. However, in Iron Hands does trade the Goldengo for the Ensign with a Drain Punch that actually crits. So that's very fortunate for Val 16. That's a good, if somewhat fortunate, way of getting compensation for that or in this sequence. However, ESM does indeed end up exhausting their Terra here. Latios now Terra Ghost, which can be a bit annoying with the versus the Chido. I suppose it doesn't necessarily change the way that it loses to Dark Pulse. However, losing the Fire resist from the Dragon typing does feel kind of annoying. DNC gets sent onto the field versus Iron Hands. The Iron Hands here may very well have may very well have Heavy Slam. However, it is -1. So yeah, well, Tornadus taunts. That Iron Hands is very obviously Assault Vest, considering it took nothing from the, well, not nothing, it took 68, but it's still, well, it took 68 from a Life Orb Luster Purge. It should not be taking that little. So it basically is obviously AV. Tornadus taunting the DNC, preventing the Trick Room from going up, which is in Val 16's best interests, considering the speed matchup between the two teams here. However, ESM basically felt that they could just destorm a lot, opting not to set Trick Room, probably possibly expecting the Trick Room, or basically just a hedge, right? Who knows? I suppose, right? Bleak Wind clears the Latios in that position. The Wild Charge going into the Among Us basically bounces off, right? Does nothing. However, Iron Hands, the Among Us rather, the Tornadus. Is the item on the Tornadus revealed? I'm not actually sure. It probably is just Cloak. So it. And I'm pretty sure nothing runs safety goggles in this. Well, not nothing. I mean, I'm pretty sure sometimes Iron Hands does run safety goggles, I think. However, Tornadus, I'm pretty sure never runs safety goggles. So yeah, Among Us could basically just Rage Powder on that position. Puff to clear the Tornadus from the Among Us. D-Storm from the DNC. Lander is probably clicking. I was gonna say it's probably Sandseer or EP does get clicked on that position onto the DNC. However, DNC revealing that it's actually Shukaberry, which is, well, it's fair to have considering how ground weak ESM's team actually is, considering it has two weaknesses to ground and in Weezing G and in Sin. And its only immunity is like Latios, right? Pollen Puff not getting that kill, which is, it's double Shuka, of course. What's one way to not be weak to What's one way to not be weak to ground type attacks? Well, run 2x Shukaberry. So, ESM just rage spamming Pollen Puff in this position. A dazzling, basically Puff plus Dazzling Gleam probably clears that Lander's eye. So yeah, that Puff actually did make sense in that position. I'm pretty sure Val 16 still has Terra. However, a Val 16 can't really, or could they Terra the thing right now? The Ogre. Not sure, but however, I also consider this possibility that Lander's eye would just Terra Poison so that it resists Dazzle now. EP onto the Among Us slot does nothing. Up. An interesting choice of ability from Val 16 there. The Landorus Eye taking Life Orb damage, revealing that it's actually Sand Force and not Sheer Force. Val 16, no! It's fun! It's the quarterfinals! What are you? Oh, hell no! Oh my god, no! Oh my god. The Discord, the Team Italy Discord, as we speak, erupting after seeing the Life Orb damage on the Landorus Eye. Someone ought to double check their teams for the next two games of this gauntlet if they want this to not repeat itself. But yeah, that actually matters too, not being sheer force, but because that EP on Among Us might actually be a role now, right? Yeah, it actually might be a role now. If the Landorus Eye was sheer force, that EP would do way more, and it would aside from not taking LO damage, that EP would do way more. So that Landorus Eye not being sheer force is terrible. It's so terrible. It's so unfortunate. This is very tough now for Val 16. However, ESM does have a very slow team versus a Chi-Yu incoming. If this Joger Pond Wellspring is probably going to Spike Shield in order to preserve the position. So and in order to preserve the position so that it's going to be Chi-Yu plus Ogre Pond versus Among Us plus Ursaluna. Like, that's probably going to be the scenario because like Among Us can't really redirect Joger Pond Wellspring, right? Because Ogre Pond is a grass type. Rage Powder does not work on grass types. So this Ogre Pond is free to Ivy Cudgel as it pleases onto the Ursaluna. Without fear of getting redirected, and Val 16 would also want the Chi-Yu on the field in order to deal the necessary chip for onto Ursaluna in order to get the kill, and of course Chi-Yu would also be good for the Among Us. Yeah, indeed, Val 16 spiky shields in this position, EP on the Landorus Eye onto the Ursaluna slot. ESM basically getting this turn right, sporing the Landorus Eye and not opting to not kill it in order to prevent the exact scenario that I mentioned, preventing the Chi-Yu from coming in, and now Ogre Pond Wellspring is forced to Ivy Cudgel onto the Ursaluna. It's CMs! And what is Among Us going to do? It puffs. And this Ursaluna is lefties. That lefties. Oh, okay. It's apparently that's a min roll into max roll. What the fuck? It's a min into max. 733 was apparently a min roll with this amount of attack versus max HP. Not max HP versus this HP. Whatever, man. What the hell was that roll? 73 into 83. That's crazy. Well, anyways, getting that roll happening basically guaranteed Val the game because Wellspring was not under threat from the Among Us. At best, it had Pollen Puff, and and of course, Landorus Eye is also burning the sleep turns. So at some point, the Wellspring or the Landorus Eye was going to kill that Diancie eventually, right? So, yeah. And Val 16 ends up taking the game despite the mistake in ability. Well played, Val 16, and we are now currently 2-1 for Team Italy versus US West. Let's now wait for the second game. I'll see you guys later. Welcome back, guys. It's Ferrari versus Senior Volt Mike for the gauntlet for Italy versus US West. However, I'm gonna make one thing clear. I might be the noob. I forgot about neutralizing gas last game. No! I forgot about Newt gas, so that's why the Landorus Eye was not sheer force, and that's why the roll was what it was, right? So maybe I'm the fool. Maybe my my speculation on what was happening in the Italy Discord was actually quite false, and I am actually the one who is at fault here. My apologies. Lo siento. Anyways, let's move on. Ferrari 450 versus Senior Volt Mike. Landorus, interesting comp. Lando Eye plus Clefairy versus a Kirin team on Senior Volt Mike. Honestly, kind of similar team comps all around, aside from the fact that both teams have Kirin, right? It's basically a fake out core. There's 2 genies. There's a redirector. Basically, the one big difference between the team is that a Senior Volt Mike has one more bulky fake out guy, while Ferrari has a Joldengo. So it's going to be interesting how that dynamic goes. Okay, what the fuck happened? Okay, the Clef ends up taking the Draco, and Saltvest Kirim. Huh. I mean, that's fair, right? I mean, if KB can do it in older gens, why not Kirim in this gen, right? Especially in a gen where it can basically transform into any type. So yeah, that Draco being devoured by the Clefairy is annoying for a senior Volt Mike. The existence of a fairy type in this position, in this matchup rather, is actually kind of annoying for a senior Volt Mike, I suppose, considering the Iron Hands is also not going to be as valuable as it otherwise could be versus the Incineroar, considering the Clefairy is going to tank the damage, and also because of the Friend Guard, right? Because of Friend Guard, Senior Volt Mike's spread damage is basically neutered, or rather not as strong. So, Where now, let's, what is Senior Volt Mike going to do, considering I think Senior Volt Mike is in the worst spot right now, considering no more AV on Kirim. It's not an offensive Kirim. Also for... Okay, never mind. Kiram, Senior Volt Mike is actually not in a necessarily worse position considering the move that was revealed. However, Clefairy revealing that it indeed does have Moonblast. I honestly didn't expect it to have Moonblast, or I didn't expect Clefairy to have an attacking move at all, aside from Icy Wind, of course, considering it's not really that strong as an attacker. But I guess Moonblast is fair, I guess. I'm not really convinced, but it does end up working here. However, Clefairy plus Joldengo versus Kirim plus Tornadus. The Goldengo might actually be faster than this Kirim, considering this is AV Kirim, right? It's probably not having any speed here. The Tornadus elects to Bleak Wind, no speed drop, Dazzle from the Joldengo. It's what set could this be? Could it be Shadow plus Dazzle? Maybe it's like it's definitely Terra Fairy, right? On the Goldengo. It's probably Terra Fairy on the Goldengo. Considering that it just revealed Dazzling Gleam, and I really don't think Dazzling Gleam is a move that's commonly run on Goldengo, especially Life Orb Goldengo, no? Like, is it Shadow Ball plus Dazzle plus NP? Like, NP 2 attacks? Is it 3 attacks? Probably 2 attacks, Dazzle Shadow, maybe. I'd assume it's that. Well, this is insane. Oh, okay, it's just 3 attacks then, if it's Terra Flying. Yeah, it's not Terra Fairy, right? It's Terra Flying, so it's going to need Make It Rain, and if it's going to need Make It Rain, it's going to be 3 attacks, so it's just that. Both Tornado setting Tailwind there. Well, it's a very polite exchange indeed, and Ferrari is Ferrari in a... I suppose that Ferrari is indeed in the advantageous position. The possibility that this Joldengo is faster than the Kirim is still there. It's highly likely, to be honest, considering this is a Life Orb Joldengo. It's definitely offensive and thus has a lot of speed on deck, and it's probably going to be faster than the AV Kirim. And it's also flying type right now, so Landorus Eye cannot just EP or Sanseer in this position in order to kill it. It has to Sludge Bomb, which it could kill. Well, does it kill? Just check. Let's get rid of that. It kills after a Life Orb roll. Or a Fake Out roll. All of those. And the thing... one fortunate thing for a Senior Volt Mike in this position is that Joldengo is flying. It's not actually recovering from grassy terrain, so... So basically, any damage on the Goldengo is permanent. Well, maybe. Oh, right. I forgot if Goddess Gold lets it be affected by Heal Pulse. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. So, yeah, any damage on the Goldengo is permanent. And Senior Volt Mike is taking their sweet time this position, as they should, by the way. If I were a Senior Volt Mike, I would just rage go onto Ogre Pawn and Terra. But I'm bad, so whatever. And that Kirim gets sent in Rillaboom probably faking out the Tornadus, and the Tornadus clicking protect in this. Wait, why did I say? Yeah, it actually does threaten fake out because the Rillaboom did just get set in, so fake out was active there, and the Tornadus clicking protect meant I suppose I think it meant that this Tornadus is not covert cloak in order to prevent that fake out, because if I was Ferrari, if I was covert cloak there, I would just rage Bleak Wind and get the trade onto the Rillaboom, and simplify the position immediately. But I digress. The Tornadus, I'm pretty sure. Does this Tornadus die to glide? It, no way, right? Yeah, no way, no fucking way. Especially at -1 after Intimidate from Incineroar. Yeah, no way. It's one of those like goob defensive Landorus, considering, yeah, we just saw Grassy Seed consumed, which is insane, by the way. Grassy Seed consumed by a Landorus Eye. What has Scarlet and Violet come to? The heck? Anyways, that aside, Ferrari in a really strong position right now. The Grassy Seed Landorus Eye not really threatening max damage, considering it's not Life Orb, of course. It's probably CM. Considering it's, again, Grassy Seed. Or rather, does this get Nasty Plot? I'm pretty sure it doesn't get Nasty Plot. I'm going crazy. It is probably just CM, right? Considering the style of team that we have right now. And Ferrari able to get the speed advantage with their Tornadus being alive. Incineroar coming in to fake out the Iron Hands, or the Iron Hands, in order to prevent the Tornadus from getting traded with a Wild Charge or Ice Punch or whatever. The Landorus Eye also just probably going to die. It's probably, this Tornadus could just Bleak Wind, to be honest. Like fake out the Iron Hands, Bleak Wind to see the damage onto the Iron Hands. Well, instead we just see a Tailwind, which is fair enough. Critical hit on the Incineroar, that's very annoying, but it is what it is. The Iron Hands revealing that the Iron Hands revealing the fact that it's not Clam earlier by taking -1 means that this Incineroar can, well, it can't act. I was gonna say that it could Parting Shot onto the Iron Hands, but it can't Parting Shot onto the Iron Hands, considering it doesn't have Parting Shot. It's U-turn, which is an interesting choice, I suppose, but fair enough either way. This faster Incineroar could. Is it worth clicking U-turn? I don't think you ever U-turn, because you just expose your Landorus Eye or your Kyurem for free. You probably just Flare Blitz right now the Iron Hands and Bleak Wind in order to get the kill on the Landorus. So yeah. Senior Volt Mike, however, does still have Terra alive, and this Iron Hands, if it's AV, could easily be a really annoying guy. However, interesting switch by Senior Volt Mike, going Ogerpon on that position. The Ogerpon also gets burned, which is tough. However, the Landorus did end up dodging, so that Incineroar ends up dying. Ferrari, however, does still have the speed advantage from the Tailwind earlier, so this Kyurem is threatening a kill on either Pokemon on Senior Volt Mike's side. Terra on Ferrari, however, no longer live. Both Tornadus and Kyurem, both Pokemon that lose to an AV Iron Hands. Basically, everything is on Landorus Eye on Ferrari's side. Protect on Ogerpon, Glaciate gets the kill on Landorus, and Bleak Wind, and this joke. Okay, basically any damage that Ferrari does onto the Iron Hands is just going to get recovered back by Drain Punch, right? So this is still kind of tough for Ferrari. And the fact that it's Glaciate means that it's also probably AV, right? Because why would you lock into Glaciate in this kind of position? So you'd only want to do that in order to hit the Landorus Eye. Rage EP from Ferrari Drain Punch on the Kurum, the Iron Hands getting almost everything all back. Ferrari can easily just Bleak Wind in this position. A language which I cannot understand being spoken in the chat right now. Can this Iron Hands win? Maybe? With Rillaboom, probably, right? But however, this Landorus Eye can't Terra anymore. Like, this Iron Hands might actually do it. Protect from the Landorus, from the Tornadus. Interesting sequence of events transpiring. Oh, what am I talking about? Rillaboom has Terran. I have CTE, guys. Rillaboom already Terran. Well, how am I supposed to remember Rillaboom Terra? Like, come on, it Terra Grassed, for fuck's sake. It didn't change type. Well, whatever. So, whatever. Does this Tornadus even Oh. Right, right. It's Choice Scarf. Right. Okay, interesting. Okay. Okay, and that Tornadus ate it up like it was a feast. Interesting sets, I guess. That's Scarf Rillaboom. Did it reveal Scarf earlier? Let me run it back. It clicked Glide, right? No, it clicked Woody Hat. It was faster than Kyurem, which I guess it's not something you think about. It was faster than the Gold, which meant that Ferrari could have known that it was Scarf, but not really, right? I don't know. Not sure. It's not like I can know by their sets, necessarily. Indeed, it was Scarf because it was faster than the Torn. Or it could just be max speed, who knows? So and this could just be the slowest Tornadus in the world. But it is probably just Scarf because it's also Terra Grass. You'd only really want Terra Grass if you're Scarf, right? Either way, Ferrari takes this game. The Joldengo, the additional special attacking breaker, actually paying dividends here in this somewhat similar matchup. Over Senior Volt Mike, and I'm pretty sure that what's the score right now? I'm pretty sure Ferrari won. I have CT, I guess. Well, whatever. I'll think about it later. I'll see you guys in a bit. And we are back. It's currently 3-1 for Team Italy in this gauntlet versus US West. Kunal versus Kyogris 24. Honestly, I'm not as familiar with Kyogris 24 as I am familiar with Kunal. However, I know Kunal's a great Doubles OU player. Kyogris's background, meanwhile, eludes me. However, I'm pretty sure they're good considering they're starting, of course, right? If you're starting, you're definitely fire. Either way, I'm excited to see what Kyogris has to offer in this particular matchup. Tornadus, Regidrago on Kunal's side versus Kyogris, who has Fairy type, which is most fortunate for them. Fairy type plus Joldengo in order to deal with the Regidrago. Grimmsnarl definitely just going to set a screen, probably, right? Because considering why else would you run a Grimmsnarl anyway? That's basically what it does. And this is like, it seems that Kyogris' team is intent on setting up screens for their strong special attackers in Kyurem, Joldengo, and Landorus Eye. Incineroar coming out on Kyogris' side in order to intim the Incineroar and also possibly avoid any shenanigans, I suppose. While Kunal just elects to Icy Wind in that position. Switch out Landorus Eye. Yeah, that makes sense to Icy Wind in that position considering Ice for X versus ground flying. So yeah, light screen does go up though, and now Kunal's whatchamacallit, Kunal's, Regidrago, and Joldengo are a bit neutered now, considering the light screen is taking away a lot of the damage. Spirit Break on Joldengo, even more neutered is the Joldengo right now. Tornadus also losing its sash, though it doesn't really matter considering the knockoff does damage, right? So, however, this being focus sash is actually valuable information for Kyogre's, considering focus sash means that the Tornadus is max speed, max special attack, basically, right? It's what you should assume if that's the item. So this Tornadus is probably 0 book, which Kyogre's can then account for accordingly in terms of the damage they can deal and receive. The Tornadus also getting Parting Shot there. The Parting Shot plus the Light Scream combo basically making this Tornadus a non-factor. Okidogi on the board right now. I'm pretty sure most Okidogi run... they run Guard Dog AV? I'm pretty sure they run that. I'm not exactly as familiar with Okidogi in SV. It's a development that happened after my time seriously playing SV. But however, I do know that Okidogi has been Okidogi, what I fucking call it. Like, I'm pretty sure it's been tearing up the scene, or rather, it's been performing well in games. Okidogi here, Terra Darks in order to be immune from Grimmsnarl's attack. Nasty plot of clicked by the Joldengo there. Tailwind plus screens is now active. Is the Joldengo Dazzling Gleam? I'm not sure if I don't think people actually run Dazzling Joldengo Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam as much. Like, I'm pretty sure it's more of an OU specific development. However, I don't think it's necessarily bad, but like, come on, it's just way easier to spam Make It Rain, right? To just focus on that being your main way to win, considering it's less conditional on your Terra. So this Goldengo is probably just going to click Make It Rain. I don't know why I'm so fixated on the Dazzling Gleam set. But yeah. Good Goldengo +2 special attack, threatening a lot of damage, threatening to kill this Tornadus even, which is probably going to the Incineroar. That's exactly what happens right now. How much damage is this Okidogi going to take? Interesting, switching into Incineroar there onto the Okidogi. And Kunal reveals that, it's actually Tailwind on Kunal's side. I don't know what I thought about. I misread the situation here. It's actually Tailwind on Kunal's side, which meant that their Incineroar is actually faster than Kyogre's Incineroar. So the faster fake out happens, and Kunal just basically trades out the Goldengo. And that's why they're Goldengo protected, right? Because it doesn't have the speed advantage onto the Okidogi. However, I think fake out, I'm not sure, because like, I'm not really keen on the idea of sending in Incineroar onto Okidogi while there's still a number of Tailwind turns remaining, because now you're put into this position where you have to take another hit versus the Okidogi while it still has the speed advantage. This Ogerpon Wellspring is definitely clicking Spiky Shield right now. However, Kyogre's is in a tough spot of who they're going to take damage with on their Incineroar slot. It's probably going to be a Grimmsnarl, though. I don't think they can risk here. The Landorus Eye is also valid. Terra on the Wellspring. Reflect does mean that this Gunk will be devoured. However, it does still take a chunk considering the Okidogi is +1 in attack. The Chalk comes in hoping to take the Ivy Cudgel. However, the Ivy Cudgel is just aimed at the Okidogi, which is very fair enough. It's a +1 attack. Excuse me. It's a +1 attacker. However, this Ogerpon Wellspring clicking Terra means that this Sinistcha can now click Rage Powder in order to defend the Okidogi from an Ivy Cudgel. The Wellspring is no longer Grass type. It's actually affected by Rage Powder now. However, the Okidogi just switches out. I guess it's fair enough
for Kunal to respect Sandseer Storm, which I think I don't actually think it kills there. Maybe. I don't know my roles. I'm not it could even just be not AV, right? Who knows? It's probably AV though. Like come on. What else could it be? It's leftovers. I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. I'm stupid. I'm actually bad at the game. I'm actually bad at the game. Whatever, man. It's not AV, so it definitely died to a Sandseer. So this being switched out is very fair. However, Incineroar being the switch in is interesting, but I mean, it's a fair enough sack, right? In order to get Tornadus cleanly in onto the field. Freeze Dry does a lot of damage onto the Cha, but not enough. The Cha actually gets double targeted there. The parting shot onto the Landorus Eye happens. This Landorus Eye is basically toothless right now, and Tornadus gets a free switch in order to click Tailwind on this board. The Cha getting also a Matcha Gacha off. No burns occur. And Tornadus is definitely going to click Tailwind and Matcha Gacha onto this position. I'm not sure if Incineroar is kind of free. Because nobody clicks EP here, right? On with Landorus. That's insane. You're -2. So it's... And clicking EP on a Tornadus is fiction. So, come on, man. This is a free Incineroar switch in order to take the Ice type attack from the Kyurem. So, And this Tornadus is probably clicking Tailwind? I'd love to think it's clicking Tailwind. Kyogre no longer has Terra. Basically the own... Yeah, and Grimmsnarl is kind of low, so there's the pop... Huh. Not sure about not clicking Tailwind there, but... Whatever. Maybe I'm missing something. Is Tailwind not good there? I mean, Icy Wind does mean that Kunal has the advantage on this specific board right now with Make It Rain, and Goldengo plus Drago is basically a combination that is impossible to switch into because your Fairy type on Grimmsnarl is taking Make It Rain. As we will see right now, Grimmsnarl takes 5 more billion damage from that. It drops, and Regidrago. This Kyurem could be faster than Regidrago. It's naturally faster, of course. However, at this point, it's a matter of having speed. Could this Regidrago be Scarf? I'm pretty sure Tailwind, Prankster Tailwind plus Scarf is not necessarily unheard of. However, this Regidrago is probably just Dragon Fang or Draco Plate or whatever. Could be Specs, of course, I'm pretty sure that, but it's probably just Dragon Fang. And this Kyurem could end up being faster than this Regidrago. If the Kyurem ends up being faster than the Regidrago, though, it's going to drop maybe to Make It Rain. Like, this could... Is it Specs? It dealt 33 to an Incineroar. I'm pretty sure it is Specs, because what kind of Goldengo does 33 to an Incineroar? It's definitely Specs. So this Kyurem is definitely going to die if it ends up being a set that's faster than the Regidrago. And indeed, it is faster, and this Make It Rain is going to trade. It actually doesn't end up killing. What set is this? It is Specs. It is AV. Is AV that bulky? It's fast and faster than the Regidrago and bulky. Huh. Well, that's how the cookie crumbled. So I guess that's what we will deal with as Kunal right now. This Kyurem is threatening to kill the Goldengo. The Goldengo is basically probably going to get Draco'd again, right? However, actually, I'm pretty sure Lando Eye already wins. Clicking EP. Like, it's not AV on the Okidogi, it's just lefties. It's going to take 5 million from this EP, even if it's not poison type anymore. Considering how strong Landorus Eye is, Yeah, Ogre Pawn plus Slanderous Eye already wins, basically. No more Terra possible on either side, considering Okidogi and Ogre Pawn will spring. Ogre Pawn will spring on Kyogre's already Terra'd, Okidogi already Terra'd. So basically, all Kyogre's needs to is get Landorus Eye onto the field safely, I hope. Honestly, I wouldn't have done that. It would have just... Was that necessary? Was that switch necessary? I don't think so, I think. Just for instant. Not risk anything. Landorus Eye. However, if you're confident that it's just going to be Drain Punch on that slot. However, what if... I don't know. Either way. How much does this EP? 70 to 83. Yeah, right. I'll fake out from the Landorus Eye in order to not get faked out from the Incineroar, or protect from the Landorus Eye in order to not get hit by the fake out. And now this is the tough thing. I really wanted Landorus Eye, that plus Ogre Pawn. I think Kunal wanted that specific board. Or rather, I think Kyogre's wanted that specific board in order for... so that the Ogre Pawn is covering the Landorus Eye against Incineroar. So that the Landorus Eye doesn't get traded by the Incin, right? However, now Kyogre's just basically has to get Chip. I guess this is fair. Okay, the Kyurem should just be Goldengo. It's confirmed faster than the Goldengo right now, and it's definitely faster than the Okidogi. So this should just EP. So this Landorus Eye does not need to aim at the Goldengo. It can just aim the Earth Power onto the Okidogi, and then the Ogre Pawn should just win after that, right? This Protect wasn't necessarily needed. Now, well, whatever, it is what it is, right? Sending in Incineroar in order to get the fake out. It's not like the Okidogi is getting much from Brain Punch anyway. So, and that's that. That's now board one for Italy versus US West. Italy now at that critical junction 4-1. One more win gets them out. Actually, is it one more win? I'm pretty sure it's 2 more wins. Because is it 8v? Let me just check my Smurgan. One, two, three. Yeah, it's 8v8. Yeah, so Italy is now at that critical point. They are at match point right now, or rather, well, you know what I mean, right? They're at the point where one more win guarantees them through this matchup on and their path, and one more win secures their path onto the semifinals. Well played from Italy for this gauntlet, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this series of games. Thanks for watching, and yeah, again, my bad for forgetting about Wheezing G, but it is what it is.